It's Wednesday, which means it's time for a favorite find, and this one comes from our friend Jim, Digger Jim. It's a watch fob, and I love watch fobs, as you may or may not know. This one in particular is quite interesting because you probably will never see another one like it. You know, it's one of those like, in a video recently I talked about things, you know, and I think it was last week's Walk and Talk. Sometimes you find stuff, you're going to be the only person that finds one. And this might be one of those. So it's a watch fob that says, "You got to quit kicking my dog around." Okay? So this is based on a song. And on one side of it, it says, "Every time I come to town, the boys keep kicking my dog around. Makes no difference if he is a hound, they gotta quit kicking my dog around." So, and it comes from a song that was used during a political campaign by James Champ Clark. Now, a couple little facts about him. He was almost president, maybe, possibly. He was about a rule change away from being president, but he lost the nomination to Woodrow Wilson. The only thing I care about him is that he became Speaker of the House from 1911 to 1919. But who did he unseat? Uncle Joe Cannon. That name sounds familiar, but it's because it's my name. So, although I don't even know if I'm related to that Joe Cannon, it's kind of weird when you find out someone was defeated who has your same name. It's like a type of special home team feeling, whether that's the case or not. And as a matter of fact, one time I was at the Theodore Roosevelt birthplace, his house that he lived in Manhattan. And they had this thing up there. It was like, it listed the Speaker of the House as Joe E. Cannon. And I called the park rangers over there and I was like, "That's a G, not an E." And they argued with me. And they were like, "Well, how do you know?" And I was like, "Because I'm Joe R." And so I had to go with them. They sat down just to Google it. These are National Park Rangers. And they were like, "Wow, you're right." Yeah, I know I'm right. Because I spent a little while, like I would, back in the day, add people on Facebook that had the same name. Because I was interested in seeing other Joe Cannons. Anyone else ever done that? Like just look for people with the same name, see how they're doing in life? Not like it's a competition, but it's curious. And a couple of them, you know, I became pretty friendly with. There was one that lived like less than a mile from me. And we weren't related, but he was a cool dude. I sometimes wonder what happened to him. Maybe I'm going to go look at all the other Joe Cannons and find out. I should make a whole other video about Joe Cannon because he was interesting. He had like a cigar brand and everything. But back to old Champ Clark. Champ Clark was Speaker of the House. He was a representative from Missouri. And he was Speaker of the House from 1911 to 1919. And he pretty much helped Woodrow Wilson pass a lot of stuff up until the point he split ways with Woodrow Wilson. He was very anti-World War I. So good for him, because war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Anyway, this is a really cool watch fob, and I really appreciate Digger Jim sending it in. I'll put his details. Him and a buddy found it. As a matter of fact, we'll just check out the email, so I'll make sure I get the details right as to what he said about it. He says, "Attached are some pictures of my political watch fob I found back in May of 2022. My friend, Colin Jones Relic Hunter, and I were digging a yard permission of a house from the 1940s. I hope I don't mess anything up by by just laying that dude's name out there. The house was located a few blocks away from the town fairgrounds, which would have been around since 1880. The song also is from around that same time too. So when it becomes, when Champ Clark adopts it, he's politically active during that time. We were finding wheats and a few silver dimes. The weather turned, and just as I was digging a signal, it started to pour rain. And I hate when that happens. I pulled out the muddy target and threw it in my bag. When I got home to clean up my finds, I found the muddy clump was a watch fob, and I had no idea what it was from. I posted on Instagram, and a friend who deals in antiques sent him all the information, sent him one of those Worth Point things, which I will say, Worth Point comes in handy, but don't always trust it. Sometimes it's off. I think in this case it's correct. It goes on to say, I figured Mr. Clark came and stumped in my town since we were not that far from DC, but who knows? That's a good point. You never really do know. And as a matter of fact, I'm working on another video about a whole other thing. And the premises by which I acquired a certain item, or what we thought was its original origin, ended up being completely wrong. And the truth about it became completely interesting. So you guys will be hearing about that soon. I'm working on another little project right now. I've started on Instagram called Get That History, where basically I just focus on history. So I don't want to say that this isn't history-based metal detecting, but it's just a little more broad. So if you're on Instagram, you want to check that out. There's some cool stuff there. Not a lot there yet, but there will be. And so, you know, I'll put the details for that. It's pretty simple. It's just like Get That Treasure, except Get That History. Who knows? Maybe there'll be another. I wish I had access to Get That Money. Maybe one day. But who knows? Who knows what the future will hold? I'll tell you this, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep on keeping on. And that's what I suggest you all do, is to keep on keeping on. Keep on sending me these finds because they're great. Thank you so much, Digger Jim. Also, I've talked about him before. He makes really cool content. It's like metal detecting and comic books. Very interesting blend. By the way, he sent me a Batman graphic novel. I picked it up the other day. Started reading it. It's pretty good. I feel like it takes me forever. If you were to send me like a book or anything to read, it may be 2 years by the time I get to it. I don't know about you guys, but I stay so busy. I haven't even watched TV. I started watching, well, that brings me to another point. What's up with all these TV shows taking years between seasons? How am I supposed to keep up with it? Anyone else watch From? That show's irritating me. It's not even that good. Anyway. And there's other beef too. Like, why did they cancel Westworld? I really like that one. Then even further back, remember Carnival? That was good. That was real good. And then the other day I realized that there's still like Walking Dead stuff happening. Come on. Anyway. If you'd like stickers or swag or to submit a favorite find, which I hope you guys do because they're awesome, feel free to email me at igetthattreasure@gmail.com and I will send you stickers free of charge. Just remember to include your address and I will slap them in the mail. I will see you guys Friday with a walk and talk. And oh yeah, that's right. Check out the last walk and talk because we still have a contest going on. So be sure to check that out. Enter it. I'll announce the winner this Friday. And it's really cool. It's for the Pull Tab Archaeology poster, which if you're a serious detectorist, you should have that so you can look. There's nothing like being able to say like that pull tab right there is from 1963. That pull tab is XYZ. That's Gen 1, Gen 2. You should know these things. You know? Be in the know. You know what? I think that'd be a good campaign. So be in the know like Joe. Even though usually everything I say is wrong. But that's how we learn, by making mistakes. So I'll see you Friday with a walk and talk. If you get out, I hope you get that treasure. And thank you so much for watching.